All right. As you've all seen, the Magento platform is a magnet for innovative businesses who come in all shapes and sizes, come from different places and spaces, all around the world. We're delighted to have so many innovative businesses here in the room, and we're thrilled to have 4 of them who are going to come up on stage this afternoon. Each of their businesses represent a great example of how Magento is enabling customer innovation and success across the globe. So please help me in welcoming Mike Moore, Director of Marketing at Purina, a Nestle company; Chris Fenwick, Head of E-commerce, 10,000 Villages; Olga Nazarkova, Head of E-commerce at Mothercare; and last but not least, Jules Pieri, co-founder of Daily Grommet. Thank you. Come on. All right. Very excited to have all of you here today. Let's get started. So why don't we'll start with Jules. We'll start on my right. Why don't we can go around the horn here and tell us a little bit about your business and how long you've been a Magento customer for.
We started in 2008. We became a customer in 2010, and I'm a bit of an imposter up here because we're not actually a retailer. E-commerce is part of our business model, but we're a product launch platform. So we discover a new product and company every day and launch it. We see 200 ideas a week and launch 5.
Okay, great, thank you. Olga?
Well, I work for a British retailer, Mothercare, and we have 62 markets where we operate. So for us, how we use Magento is international expansion. And over the past few years, we found a very interesting innovative business model that enables our franchise network to really localize and operate e-commerce very effectively.
Great, thank you.
10,000 Villages is a nonprofit organization. We're the oldest and largest fair trade retailer in the United States. So we purchase handcrafts from around the world, 38 countries, and import them into the United States and sell them in 85 stores and online.
All right, fantastic.
Purina is a 100-plus-year-old animal nutrition company based in St. Louis, Missouri. We make a number of dog and cat foods, treats, and litters, brands like Purina One, Beneful, Busy Bone, Tidy Cats, and we started our e-commerce journey 2 years ago with one of 3 sites that we now offer today on the Magento platform.
All right, great, thank you. All right, let's talk a little bit about how your business is, how you're leveraging the Magento platform to innovate. So Olga, why don't we start with you?
Well, a few years ago, we had the challenge of having such an extensive franchise network, and our international business is growing every year at a high level. So how do we make sure that we take everything that we have in UK, established e-commerce business, and take it local? So we trialed in a couple of countries, do independent Magento sites. But then after a while, we decided, well, we need to build a global platform that has all the centralized content, every product data, everything that our franchisees need. It's like a toolkit in a sense. And then when our franchisees are ready, we work with them in order to launch it and help them throughout the whole journey on operations, marketing, everything. That enables us to roll out really, really fast.
That's great. I heard that you have a franchisee in Kuwait or some other developing nations. Can you talk maybe a little bit about that?
Yeah, last year we launched in Kuwait and also in Indonesia, and that was actually in those 2 markets, we were the first international brand to launch transactional website, and I'm pleased that it was on Magento. And the business is growing really, really well in those markets for us.
Fantastic. All right. I'm going to come over here and we're going to talk a little bit about innovation as it relates to 10,000 Villages. Is innovation about creating something new, or is it about making something better, something that exists already, making it better? I thought you might have a good perspective on that.
Well, I think of innovation in 2 ways. So there's the big innovations, like Edison doing a light bulb. I think 10,000 failures, and then he got it right. And aren't we all glad that he kept it up? He didn't give up. And so there are some of you out there that are doing those big innovations. At 10,000 Villages, I think our innovations and our creativity is circled around doing things to just keep up with the market and with customer trends. So We're doing things with Magento, like expanding the gift registry so they can go in the stores and our managers can manage the gift registry in store, expanding the e-cards into physical gift cards so we can sell and redeem those online. So we're innovating, but we're doing it in a way just to keep up with the marketplace.
That's great. And with the gift cards, is that something that you're offering both online as well as in your physical stores?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Jules, I want to come over to you for a second here. You had mentioned something to me that caught my attention about Daily Grommet, which is that you're not a true e-commerce site, and I know you mentioned it briefly just in your summary, but can you share a little bit more about that?
So when I say product launch platform, people don't even know what I mean because it's something we're inventing. But basically, there was an article yesterday about us in VentureBeat that I thought covered it better than most. They said, we're the place you go with a product after the honeymoon is over at Kickstarter. And we turn it into a business. And that's a pretty good description of what we do. We are sourcing products from all over the world, from the most likely and unlikely sources, and giving them a level playing field. And the way we do that is actually by being almost like a video blog with a shopping cart attached. So when we launch a product, it's carefully vetted. Our community suggests all the ideas we see, but we vet them. When we launch it, within 24 hours, we have the data to know whether it can be a winner, mainstream. So a few years ago, we launched SodaStream. We launched Bananagrams. We even helped Google launch Google Voice. We launched Food Should Taste Good. We launched Idea Paint. All kinds of products that now are starting to become household names. And the data we get by selling the products helps us de-risk those products for their next steps, going into major media and major retail. So we then partner even further to take them along the growth path, because launching a consumer products is really the Olympics of business. It's the hardest thing to do in business.
With so many, let me, as a follow-up on that, with so many products that are coming in from individual business owners or throughout the world, how has Magento allowed you to kind of operationalize that? Is it?
Well, we actually started in 2008 on Ruby on Rails, and because we were doing this thing that didn't exist yet, an event-based, yet commerce-based thing. It just was hardly there yet, and we also needed to integrate video. But we wanted to use Magento, and we waited till you were ready for us, basically. And we bent you around us in 2010 to accommodate video and to accommodate some other interesting things we do. But the data we get around, we're very heavy experts in the use of social media and any kind of amplification. We have an investor who invested in Pinterest and then us, Rakuten, and this is stuff we know. And we can bend Magento, or now we don't have to bend it anymore. Magento really serves what we need in terms of gathering data not only around sales. We have 1,500 companies we're working with. We're launching all kinds of SKUs all the time. We need intensive operational data around those companies and their performance. And then we need the social data. So it's not just commercial data. We need to see what their impact is in our community.
Great. I know many of you have lots of you have different business models. We know with Doing Good in terms of sourcing products from around the globe. I know at Purina they're doing something really interesting, and I thought we could maybe talk about that, which is this emerging business model with going direct to consumers. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, we launched our Purina Store site about a year ago, and the idea was we recognized the growing importance of e-commerce for our entire customer base, and we sell to almost any retailer that sells pet products, whether it's Walmart or Target or Safeway here in the United States. And in order to gain some firsthand experience with that, we determined that we should best do that by operating our own e-commerce site. Now, having said that, it's important to understand that part of our message to our existing retailer base is also that we are not competing with them, that we consider Purina Store as a learning laboratory in which we gain learnings about what works and doesn't work for selling and merchandising the pet category online, and then we can then share those learnings with that customer base.
Okay. Fantastic. I want to come back to you just for a sec, Olga. Something I noticed on your site that you have lots of really rich content, including advice, editorials from the community, as well as just, it looks like, professional advice. how are consumers reacting to that? Is that really, it seems to be a big differentiator for your store.
Yeah, we have to compete with now not only physical other stores, but with the pure online players. And when customers come to Mothercare, it's a lot about advice on parenting. So, for example, one of our most asked questions is how to conceive. It's not about, I want to buy this product. So it was important when we built our global platform to make sure we've got all our rich content available for franchisees, and including product reviews and other reviews. And all they need to do when we launch e-commerce in their market is to localize it or translate.
And what kind of effort is that? Is that a fairly easy thing to do for the local markets, or do you find that the central or the core, you provide most of it and then they localize
I
it?
think we provide about 80% of, it's an e-commerce in a box on Magenta, and the rest 20% is about localization of content, translation, and a lot about training, and a big piece of it is operations. How do they change operations in their warehouse? How do they build scalable customer service? What team design they need to have? So we help them on all of it. Basically, I think it gives us really good competitive advantage, because we can get them up and running much faster with very few mistakes along the line.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. We'll come over here and talk a little bit about your store. Is corporate responsibility, is that just a good marketing strategy, or is it actually an effective tool for consumers who want to purchase those types of goods?
I think it's a great marketing strategy. It just can't be your only marketing strategy.
Right.
So we've been named by Ethisphere as one of the most ethical companies 6 years running, but we can't depend on that as our only marketing strategy. So it's great to have that corporate responsibility, but you have to expand.
Are there, from the others, are there other ways in which you can do good in terms of just to help really round out what you're selling, your products selling to consumers? Are there different ways that you've seen, effective ways to help kind of build community as well as social responsibility?
Storytelling, because the most innovative business models and innovative products have the least chance of success because they're doing something new that we don't know yet, we don't understand yet. So when you figure out a way to tell their stories through video, written, photographic stories, go deep, almost journalistic, that really helps. On our site, you can also search by value, so whether it's a tech innovation or a social enterprise or green or eco-friendly, or even a dark horse of an underrepresented entrepreneur, like one under 25 or a woman or somebody over 65. You just need to surface those stories. That's what people really care about. They believe that business should deliver more than a profit, but they don't have the time to figure out that information. So people like Chris do that for them. People like us do that for them, and they respond amazingly.
So I know you have lots of rich content. You mentioned it earlier. You have the video, you've got the stories and so forth. Easy to manage through Magento? With that kind of volume, doing these big product launches and so forth, you find that it's actually very easy to manage the platform?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've been launching a daily video every day since October 20th, 2008, and a live discussion. So this is something nobody else that I know of in commerce does. When we launch a product, whoever's product it is required to be available for live discussion with our community to answer questions at the moment of discovery, because we're all about discovery. So that works beautifully on Magento. We have actually absolutely no issues. Initially, there was a deep customization, but not now.
Okay, great. So for all of you, in a retail environment where there's lots of competitors, consumers can find products, every product imaginable through Amazon. You can find artisan products through Etsy and other smaller online players. How do you compete with those types of companies? Certainly when consumers have choice, how do you compete with them? How do you compete with them? Let's start with that, maybe at a high level. We'll start with you.
I'll start with that. One of the things that we have learned with our store is that some of our hard-to-find, low-distribution items are actually the items that are selling best. And so in that sense, we don't really compete with some of our retailers because they've chosen not to stock those products. So we think that there's a market need out there for some of those products. In our other products that are more frequently purchased at existing retailers, again, ours is positioned as a testing learning laboratory with those retailers. So we're not really competing with them. We're trying to improve and enhance their overall e-commerce experience by our expertise in the pet category.
And you're finding that they're a partner in this, that it's more about growing market share than
That's
it is
our
about
story, and
competition?
we're sticking to it.
Yeah. How about the others? Other of you, there's lots of, especially in baby wear.
I mean, in out of our 64 markets, most of them are emerging markets, so we were in a sense quite lucky. There's not so much online competition in those markets, but I think we are well aware of it, and our business model enables our franchisees to drive innovation, because we found they have so many great ideas in those markets that things we will never come up with. And using Magenta, we look at those ideas and see which one we can take global. And if you know, simple things like when you do, for example, you know, you do like a gift message, for example. So one of our franchisees recently said to me, "Oh, Olga, wouldn't it be great if we could offer them to pick a card, whether it's a boy or a girl, or can they actually customize the design of the card?" And I mean, you will never think about all these details, but it's an easy idea to take globally. So having all these innovations happening fast and at risk-free manner, because it's not expensive when you have such a wide network of partners, preparing them for facing that competition when it comes.
Right. How do you find that when to attract consumer traffic to your sites, do you find that SEO, I know for example, with the Magento platform is very much dialed into SEO. What are some of the ways that you're driving traffic to your sites? Certainly you're competing against companies that have million-dollar budgets, and I would imagine that acquisition costs certainly come into play, but what are some of the things, are there ways that you've been able to leverage the Magento platform to help improve driving consumers to your site? Or
It's content for us. We're not really a search-driven business because we're discovering products you've never heard of, so you're not searching for them. And so SEM is difficult for us as a marketing strategy, as a channel. But SEO is great for us and just generally social channels, because it's all inbound marketing then. Because when you're putting out wonderful content that, you know, always hits every, you know, the top of any algorithmic, you know, measure like it would on Google, it always, you know, we're always at the top of any kind of search related to the type of content we're creating. So it's not by product name, but the sort of stories, values, interests, attributes of the products that we're telling stories about.
okay, great.
I agree with the content. That's very key to our site as well. We did do something we had never done before last year with our partner Listtrack. We did 2 sweepstakes. Very low cost to get in and do that, and we generated about 17,000 new subscribers very quickly. So that was great for us.
Okay, great. Actually, that leads to the next question. Last year was really the year of daily deals. It seemed like every corner, I know certainly on my email inbox, I was getting at least 10 or 12 a day. Every retailer seemed to be offering daily deals. I know many of you offer daily deals on your site. What do you think? What's this year's big thing or next year's big thing when it comes to those types of promotional offers?
I think it is this year's big thing is recommending products. So targeting, instead of just sending everything out to everyone, you're on your site targeting what the customer wants to see in your communications, in your emails. It's all about recommending and targeting.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, deals is a complicated area. You know, when we were, for the first couple of years of our existence, people wanted us to be a deals business. We're not, because we're launching products. A new product can't afford to discount. It's the absolutely wrong thing for them to do. So it's been interesting to watch that area shake out, and I think that people are starting to understand what real value is. And so I think we're getting into a more healthy marketplace there. And I agree that with Chris, that people are actually looking for the real deal. You know, real deal is value, and we all can be 2 different people. I mean, I want my Crest toothpaste on a deal, right? Because they amortized that a long time ago. I'm not really buying anything innovative, but something that really supports something you care about, a new technology, then I think if you can storytell, and again, this is, how we do it, and so I drink the Kool-Aid, you can justify the value behind something that's made in the USA or made overseas in a developing market and needs support.
Are most of you using product recommendations on site and emails to target more relevant? You are? And I assume that the effectiveness of the response rates on those are much greater than just doing the bull.
Found reviews to be a very effective tool at attracting other people to the site, and that peer-to-peer relationship of those reviewers works quite well on the using the Magento platform.
Great. Okay, we've got about 2 minutes left, so we're gonna do one final around the horn. Since we have so many people in the room, I'm sure in all the wisdom and experience that the four of you have, if we can leave one little nugget, one little piece of wisdom that they can take with them leaving here, what would that be? And we'll start with you, Mike.
My advice would be for anybody starting their e-commerce journey is to test and learn, to not be afraid to test different things with the environment. In our case, it's been shipping tests. We've done some complimentary purchase tests, buy this, get that for $1 more or 50 cents more. Really, email testing works well, and I would encourage everyone to use the Magento platform to its fullest extent to really find what works best for your products and your categories.
Great, thank you.
Well, for us, it takes a village, so you can't do it by yourself. So we innovate with our partners, Listrak and Cora. They're our key partners, and we couldn't do it without them.
Great.
For us, I think it's about making sure we take best practice and develop it centrally once and then deploy it many, many times and enable our partners to do what they can do best. So enable them to localize and be closer to consumer. Don't centralize too much except for technology.
And
Video, just do it. When we started, I was in such a hurry because I thought everybody would be doing video soon and we had to get out in front. And I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for people to really nail video. And I understand the barrier, it's really intimidating. I did not want to personally be on video, but because we heavily curate, I had to be on all the videos on our site initially. Not anymore, but I did initially. But let me tell you why you do it, part of the reason. We have a 2.5% return rate, year in, year out, across every category. We covered 20 different categories of products, some high return categories. But when you do video, you eliminate, I would say, at least half the returns. The other half we eliminate by selecting and curating very carefully. But half I attribute to video. And don't be afraid to be lo-fi and be yourself. Slick, expensive is the wrong move. Get your kid with an iPhone and do it. You can do it as easily as that.
great. Mike, Chris, Olga, Jules, thank you very, very much for participating on the panel. We really enjoyed that. Give a big round of applause. Big round of applause.